We have talked about how King Anu and his son, Enlil, both wanted the fire of the goddess. The Syrians had long been participating in the war of the genders out there in the universe, and they simply brought it down here, seeing a great opportunity in using Lord Enki's talents. Enki, eager to please his stepfather, Anu, started working on a project that had never been done by anybody else, ever. What he did was build a humanoid body, eventually one that could sexually reproduce, with his own DNA, that of his Syrian wife, Ninhursag, Namliu, already existing Neanderthals, Homo erectus, Cro-Magnon, and a few other star races, and was spending a very long time fine-tuning it, making it as perfect as he could, and perfect and strong enough to be able to host the fire of the goddess. When he, his wife, and their team of scientists, had completed that task, Lord Enki started his special task. To get what he wanted, he used the following to establish the human consciousness. 1. He seduced souls that were already existing in the 4% universe, but did not have a physical body, to enter this new experiment. Many were thrilled to do so and did it voluntarily. They offered their soul, their avatar, to the experiment. 2. Lord Enki took energy from the 4% universe and used water, lightning, and thunder to create consciousness which would become the human soul number 1, the avatar/light body. This soul energy, when there weren't enough non-physicals to use, made up one of the souls in the human body, corresponding to the left hemisphere of the brain, if you will, which has to do with logic, the 5 senses, etc., and everything else which has to do with the 4% universe. This soul energy was thus dumbed down when it entered the human body, because naturally, without the body, it could travel the dimensions, being interdimensional and multidimensional, but once in the physical body, it was pretty much hooked up, and locked in with the DNA, which in its turn was connected with the 12 chakras, where all of them, except the first 2 chakras, were more or less shut down for that kind of limited soul energy. 3. Lastly, Lord Enki took energy from the 96% goddess universe, the so-called fire, and inserted it in the right hemisphere, although this explanation of hemispheres is quite limited, but makes it easier to understand. This part of the brain has to do with dreaming, imagination, intuition, visions, artistry, etc., which are all traits coming from the 96% universe. Then he attached, you can almost use the word glued, this powerful fire to the avatar, so now the human body had 2 souls, the 4% soul energy, the avatar, the fire of the 96%. Women, naturally, has more of the fire/96% soul energy than men because the female body is closer to the essence of both the 4% and the 96% universes. Men are altered females, and thus, once removed from the fire of the goddess, although we men do have the fire as well, some men are better in using it than others, who keep it quite dormant and sometimes even almost put out. So, here we have a problem. We both have the soul of the 4% and the fire of the 96% inside of us, and the two are often in conflict, creating great confusion in humans. Because we are living in 3D matter, which is part of the 4% universe, a 4% that is hijacked by the Syrians, to make matters worse, many people have unconsciously decided to silence the voice from the fire and focus on thinking with the 4% soul energy that is more adapted to the 4% universe. Thus, we have people who want to keep the truth about ourselves suppressed and are ridiculing those who try to expose the truth for what it is. These people are terrified that the fire inside of them will start burning again, because they are afraid they can't handle it. We have the expression, burning the candle at both ends, which often applies to artists, who use their fire to create their art, be it music, fine art, poetry, novels, or whatever. Still, these artists usually don't know how to tame the fire, and they burn themselves out, figuratively speaking, and even die prematurely at times. It's often drug-related, I know, but these drugs help them find their own fire and keep it burning, something we have a hard time with while we're trapped here in the Earth grid system. Note that I am not promoting overuse of drugs which leads to a shorter lifespan, but some substances from the living library are there to enhance our consciousness and thus meant to be used, responsibly, I should add. Such substances are often outlawed by the power elite, who are terrified that we Lulus are becoming more aware, both of their crimes and the universe in general. But why did Lord Enki insert 2 souls in humans? Why didn't he only insert the fire, like the Queen of the Stars had suggested? Well, the answer should be quite obvious by now. Enki worked for the Syrian overlords and his loyalty was with his stepfather rather than with his mother. He, like the Syrians, wanted a big piece of the cake and craved power. He was a male, and therefore he supported the patriarchal regime. Seen from a Syrian viewpoint, inserting 2 souls in humans was an absolutely brilliant move. If Enki would have only inserted the fire, humans would have been way too powerful to control, and the males of power wouldn't be able to suck the fire out of the individuals, especially the females. Hence, by adding a 4% soul to the mix, humans would, in their ignorance, created by amnesia, always fight their inner conflicts, but the overlords could quite easily extract the fire out of the females and win access to the 96%. Quite brilliant, I would say.